Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel for another great eShop deal video. This one is going to focus entirely on $2 deals, so anything that is $2.99 or less can be considered for this video. Let's not waste any of your time, let's jump right into these deals. First, we have Archaica, the Path of Light. It is now at its new lowest price ever, 87% off, bringing it down to the rock bottom $1.99 price. This is a really nice, relaxing puzzle game. It's kind of like, have you ever seen those board games where you set down mirrors and try to get a laser to a certain point? Well, this is basically the video game version of that. You're going to be setting down all these different pieces to try to move this light to get it to a goal. It's really nice. It's very casual, but it actually has a little bit of lore to it. There's little hidden bits of lore you can find in each world. So there's actually a little bit of a story that goes along to it, but nothing too heavy. But it does add a little bit of flair to what could have been otherwise just a completely abstract puzzle game, but very enjoyable. Next, we have Dicey Dungeons, again hitting its previous low price of $1.99. If you're not familiar with Dicey Dungeons, it's time to get familiar. It is an amazing game. It has an 88 on Metacritic. It absolutely deserves that. Really cool roguelike style game where you play as a character who has been turned into a dice, and you are going through these dungeons and you are collecting all of these different moves. Each one of the different characters plays a different way, and you're collecting these cards that are activated when you roll your dice. So you'll need to hit certain dice counts to do different kind of moves, and it's one of those games that's always kind of hard to describe what makes it so great, because it sounds like it's just a bunch of math and whatever, but it's really got a lot of personality. Very underrated, even though it's still highly regarded. I think more people definitely need to check out Dicey Dungeons. Next, we have Wuppo Definitive Edition, matching its previous low for $1.99, 87% off. This is a really goofy little Metroidvania about a character who's basically been kicked out of where he's lived, and now he's looking for a new place to live, and it just takes him on this crazy adventure. Just a lot of goofy humor, funny dialogue, a great Metroidvania if you're tired of all the ones that take themselves too seriously. Has some real simple but fun combat. I think this is a really major hidden gem on the Nintendo Switch. I think for $1.99, it's an absolute steal of a deal. Dadish 3 is getting its second sale ever, back down to $1.99. If you have never played any of the Dadish games, you definitely need to treat yourself to one of these at some point. These are really underrated, phenomenal little retro-style platformers. However, don't be deceived by the cutesy looks, especially in this third one. It can get really tough. Once you get past the first world, it's some pretty hardcore platforming challenges, very surprisingly so. So if you want something more casual, I would say wait for one of the previous ones to go on sale. But honestly, the plot isn't something where you need to have played the previous ones. It's just a silly little plot about a radish who is searching for his children. And that plot was basically rinsed and repeated for all three games. Next, we move on to a duo of puzzle games from one of my favorite developers, Afterburn. First of all, we have Inbento. It is matching its previous low, 50% off, for only $2.49. Inbento is a little puzzle game where you play as a cat who is making her kittens bento boxes. So you have these different ingredients, and you have to match up your end result to a picture of what the bento box has to look like in the end. And different pieces will lay down in a different way, so some ingredients will cover other ingredients, some ingredients will just fill in a spot. So you just have to learn how the cards work, and it's really fun, casual, very, very relaxing. Definitely nothing high stress about this puzzle game. And the other puzzle game from Afterburn is Golf Peaks, down 60% off for $1.99. This is possibly my favorite puzzle game on the Switch, definitely at least in the top 5. This is a game where you are very simply trying to get a golf ball into the hole. But the way the puzzle mechanics work in this is you have a set hand of cards, and each of these cards has a specific move for the ball. So you need to basically go through your cards and figure out in what order to play the cards to get it to its goal. Sounds really simple, but it can be deceptively difficult, especially in the later levels. Real head scratcher. It's fairly casual, but like I said, it is a bit of a head scratcher. But I think what really helps with this one not to get too frustrating is that hand of cards. You always know exactly what your moves are going to be. You know you have to use all the hands in your deck. So it's like, okay, well, if this didn't work, then I'll just try this other card for the first time. So it's kind of, you just switch things out, and it doesn't really get too bogged down where you just get stuck somewhere. All right, not another puzzle game, but we got another golf themed game. Golf Club Wasteland, down 80% off, down to $1.99. Again, another one of my favorite little hidden gems on the Nintendo Switch. This is a side-scrolling golf platforming game. A bit similar to that Curse to Golf that came out this year that made a lot of waves. This one's a little bit different, though. You play as a intergalactic golfer who is coming back to Earth, which was abandoned years ago due to some sort of fallout or something crazy that went on. But essentially, Earth has now been turned into an intergalactic golf course. So you have all these blown out buildings you're playing these holes on. But there's also some weird stuff going on in the background and in the foreground that kind of hints that there is some humanity left in the world. So very cool, very underrated. I think that this one, if you like side-scrolling golf games, you should absolutely have it in your collection. Destropolis is currently $1.99, 67% off. That is its lowest price ever. Destropolis is one of my favorite toilet time games. When I say toilet time, I mean something that you just play for about 10 minutes, you're in and out real quick and easy. So Destropolis is a twin-stick shooter, has some sort of roguelike mechanics where within each level, you are going to be leveling up as you experience and choosing different perks. There's also plenty of weapon pickups that you'll pick up along the way. It's not a roguelike in the sense that it has persistent upgrades that go from run to run, so you start every run fresh, completely brand new. But the game runs really well. It's really hectic and chaotic. It's just tons of fun, really simple, distilled down twin-stick shooter greatness. And moving on to my other favorite toilet time game, we have Downwell. Again, this is another game you jump in real quickly. Although if you're good, you could probably have a really long run. But the concept is very simple. You are making your way down a well, and you have jet boots, which allow for your jumping, but that also seconds as your form of gun. It's pretty simple and straightforward. You got weapon pickups, gems you're going to be collecting along the way. So on each run that you can upgrade your health and more ability for more ammunition. It's an awesome game, definitely worth $2. It's only normally $3 though, so I mean, obviously you could pick it up later, so definitely not a huge rush on this one. But either way, I think this is definitely a must-own for anyone who enjoys these kinds of games that allow you to get a little bit of gameplay in for a quick burst and still feel like you've really accomplished something. Moving on, we have Bastion. Bastion is currently 80% off for only $2.99. This is probably the best reviewed game on this list. It sits at a 90 on Metacritic. Now, Bastion comes to us from the developers who have moved on to make Hades and the upcoming Hades 2, and they were making absolute bangers even years ago. Bastion is a really awesome action role-playing game, all kinds of upgrades, a really cool story. What's really unique about this game, though, is you have a reactive narrator, and he is narrating the story and also everything you do during it. To this day, it's still a really unique experience, and I can't really think of another one that is quite like it, so you definitely should check it out if you are a fan of this studio's work. Red Wings American Aces has hit its lowest price ever, 80% off, bringing it down to only $2.39. A big thanks to the developer. I did get to play this early in the year when they sent me a key. I didn't think it was definitely worth the full asking price, but bringing it down to only $2.39 definitely puts it right into that impulse buy range. It's a really simple World War I themed dogfighting game. Has some really nice in-between level upgrades. Gameplay is very satisfying, simple. Again, not necessarily worth $12 for $2.39 though. I think you definitely won't go wrong with it. What Lies in the Multiverse has hit its lowest price ever, only $1.99. That's 87% off. This is a really cool puzzle platformer where you play as a kid who has made his way into the multiverse. Now, the gameplay plays out where every level you can switch back and forth. So there's sort of like a darker version of the world where everything is sort of destitute and falling apart, and then there's the main version. So you will be going back and forth between these realms to solve puzzles and make progress in the game. Has some really fun sci-fi story elements and themes. I will warn you that this game is probably not for kids. There's actually a good amount of salty adult language in it, so definitely steer clear if you're buying your games for kids. The Takeover is at its lowest price ever for only $2.99. That's 85% off. I talked about The Takeover in just a couple of videos ago in my main deal video, but I just wanted to make sure it gets lumped in with the $2 deals. This is one of the most underrated beat-em-ups on the Switch. Definitely check it out. If you want my full thoughts, make sure you check out that main deal video. Lastly, we have a game that I am picking up on this sale. Ritual Crown of Horns, 90% off, bringing it down to its lowest price ever, a rock bottom $1.99. Now, like I said, I can't give you my personal opinion of whether or not this is good, but I watched some reviews and some gameplay, and I think it looks really solid. Essentially, you play as a bounty hunter who has been resurrected, and you, as part of your revenge against your killers, have joined up with a witch who is performing these rituals all throughout this evil land. But the game is all about taking on hordes of enemies that are trying to knock down into these buildings where the witch is doing her routine, and you are tasked with defending her until she finishes at every level. Looks like a game that has plenty of cool unlocks. Looks like the gunplay is nice and punchy feeling, so I am excited to try this one out. And the user reviews on Metacritic are very solid at a 7.3. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed these $2 deal recommendations. Let me know if you're picking up any of them. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the like button, all that good stuff. So until next time, I hope you have great gaming. Bye-bye.